There we go. So yes, so this blank project, it has no files. So so there are a few things we are going to install in order to make VS Code a good editor. So if you go to your left side of the VS Code, ukienda kwenda chini hivi you will meet these extensions, ama you will hover and see extensions, the last icon, because you might not have installed any other things. Click there and search for something called live server. So if you search live server, you will get this live server one here. You click on install, or if you like using what I'm using, you could just search for 5 server. Yeah, this one, live server 5 server, and then install it. After installing it, let's create our new file here, index.html. HTML, let me rename it HTML, and creating another file, index.css. In index.html, I'm going to do an exclamation mark, just an exclamation mark, then hit enter. It will pre-fill the page with all this, and I'm writing my title here as Navbar and footer. So this will initiate a new project with just exclamation mark. So to get the basic styling or the basic boilerplate, just exclamation mark, enter. It will give you that boilerplate. Then there you pass in your title. And here I'm going to do a header. And after header, I'm going to do a footer. Of course, in the middle here, we are going to have main, or the main content. So let's start from the header. And in the header, I'm going to do a div as the first child here. The good thing with the VS Code, you could just do start typing div, itakuletea here, hit enter, and then you pass in the rest of the stuff. But I'm going to pass in a class of navbar holder, and in the header, I'm going to do dot navbar. So this is a way of writing classes in VS Code. You just do dot and it will start writing, or it will write the class, or you just do the element you want to do, then the dot, say navbar, like that. Yes, a question. The one, it's called 5 server. Just search for 5 server. Ukisha click hapa hivi under extensions, search for 5 server. 5 instead of live. I prefer you first follow through, then you will just do this after we are done, because of the limited time that we have, so that we see if we can finish this in less time. And in my head, I'm going to do a few thing, a navigation bar, but before the nav, I'm going to do the logo, so dot logo. Then the logo, I'm going to pass in an image. I'll pass in the source later. Then the next thing I'm going to pass in is the dot nav, or nav.nav. In the nav, I'm going to pass an ordered list. So I'm going to do ol dot menu, and in the menu, I'm going to do lists. And for each list, I'm going to do an a init, so li dot menu dash item. And in each menu item, I'm going to pass in an a tag, so a dot menu dash link. And in this, I'm going to just do a hash here for the href. And at the here at this particular point, I pass in home. So that's for our menu. I duplicated this about 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And here I pass in services. and here I pass in about us, and down here I do contact us. And after this nav, I'm going to pass in another item, another element, that's div dot, and this one will be action buttons. Then this action buttons, I'm going to just pass in a dot action dash button. I'm going to do here login, and I'm going to duplicate this to do a sign up, or I do register. Usually it's register then login, so that's what I'm going to do. This for our header. After our header, we are going to go to the main content. I'm just going to do main.main, and that is it. Don't think if I have anything to add there. And there I go to the footer, and for the footer, there's a special element for the footer called footer. So footer. And then the footer, I'm going to do like a row in it, dot row. Then this row, I'm going to do 4 columns. So dot call. I'll call this one call 4. Yeah, just for naming purposes, I'll just call 4 for 4 columns, but that's not the case when we continue learning, or when we shall be learning a CSS framework called Bootstrap and Tailwind. And in the first call, I'm going to pass in our name here of or the title of our application, h2, and I say this is nav footer. Let me do a class here. So dot content, I do h2, and after h2 I do an ul dot content links. In the content links, I'm going to do an li dot content link, and after in it I'm going to do a dot content. Okay, there's no need of me passing the rest. Let me just do hash, and I say boom. Oh, sorry, no, I won't be doing the content links here. Let me just copy this and use it as my next div to there, paste it there. So now footer, I'm going to just pass in some paragraph here, p, and I say lorem, and it will write me for me the lorem thing. Then I do a class here of content text. I'm going to do a class here of content title, the class, and I use it as my next h2 here. And this will be useful links, and the rest I think it's good. Then after that, I'm going to do another item or another column. Yeah, and this will be contact us. And after contact us, I'm going to do under useful links, I'm going to have home. Let me just finish this before we do the contact us. Home, then we have services. It's like the menu in the same menu on the navigation bar, about us, and contact us. And after that, I'm going to go to the contact us part, and I'm just going to do contact us link like that. I get rid of this one from here. And after this, I'm going to do an li dot icon dash icon text. We'll be having two things in the icon text. The first one will be an icon class. I'm going to introduce another library that we'll be using much of the time, which is called font awesome. So font awesome is for icons specifically, and a span here of plus 2547065222473. So that's for contact us. Then I'm going to do an email next. Think it's FA mail. Then I do the mail here at gmail.com. And after that, I can add even Facebook. Facebook. Um, Nav, just your Facebook name. And that's after the contact us. Then we shall have another div.call for, and in it we have the dot content. And in the dot content, we are just going to have h2 dot content title. And in the content title, I'm just going to pass in subscribe. And here I'm going to do a form. And in the form, I'm going to pass in just a single input. And I say placeholder that says enter your email, and the submit button that shall be button plus btn, actually btn subscribe, and I say subscribe here. So there we go, and I give this form a class of subscribe form. So far that's what we have, and how we use 5server to see what we have. On VS Code, on the bottom right, you will see a button that says go live. So go there and click on the button go live. It will load. Then after it has loaded, we give it a moment. Now it has opened our website at this link. Just copy the link, or it will open the link on the browser like this. So that's what we have so far. So how it's done, just like that. If you lose this link, it's just find it at this particular terminal. So you come to VS Code, click here at terminal, then click view terminal. No view terminal, or you could just do new terminal. Then after doing new terminal, you will be able to see your other terminal on top. Or here where you are at VS Code, the terminal is closed. Hover at the bottom here, you will see some sort of arrows that points up and down. After the arrow has appeared, click on that, hold on it, and just expand it like that. Expand it like that to hide it like that, to expand it, do that. Or if it's hidden again, you could use control tilde. Control tilde is this tilde thing. This is what's called a tilde. Usually it's the first one, that this one, this cut thing here is the one which is called a tilde. It's a, if you are using a machine that has the raw number on top there, the first item you hold, that's the first button, you will find the tilde there. That's the tilde, control tilde. So that's how to open the terminal, control tilde. Like that, it will open, and if you want to close it without manually closing it here, just do control tilde again, it will close it. So far this is what we have, a page that has our navigation bar on top here, then the footer down here. Now we need to style it to look smart. So let's start on top down. The first thing is to link our index.css file. It would have been the first, but I'll do it here. Index.css file. Link it here using the link, enter, and I say index.css. Nothing has happened. I come here to index.css and do body, and I say background of red. I save, open my browser, it will have automatically updated the CSS. So you don't have to refresh using live server. So that's the good thing with live server. You don't have to refresh your page each time you visit it. It will automatically reload your page. So I could do something like that, then do VS Code something of sort, and then I can start coding here while we see the changes appearing on the right side. So let's first include a few files. The first one I'd like to include is our our font family. So go to Google Fonts. So fonts.google.com. Find a family, a font that you like using. So I selected a font here called Geologica. Just you could go with that or remove everything and search it. Here it is. I click on it. I'm going to select a few ones, 300, 400, 500 and 600. I think with this I'm good. Click on this. Find the at import, or I could use a link. Then for the link I need to copy all this. After copying, go to your file just below your title, paste everything there. That's what it will look like. Yeah. Then I needed to now use my font family. Copy that, go to the CSS file, and then the body I'm just going to set it here. So it's not a good option. Now if I save and go back to my code, you could be able to see that the font has changed, matches to what I had selected from Google Fonts. The next thing I want to do is go to real-time colors. Let's see what real-time colors offers us, so that we could use like some sort of let me go expand this, some sort of a theme. I click. I believe this one is good. So I'm going to export this. Click here, export, and I'm going to select CSS, and it's going to give me this. I'm going to copy this or use the copy button here. Go to my CSS, just above my body. I'm going to give some space and I do root like that, curly braces, paste. So these are called the so-called CSS variables. You could call them that way. The next thing, if you have your file like it's not really aligned well, just right click, and after right clicking you'll be able to see format document. Control Shift I. So I hit format document, and it's going to format the document, so hutakuwa na zile spaces zenye ziko hanging. And before I continue going down, I'm going to do this, like a few resets here, and I'm going to reset the margin of everything to 0, reset the padding to 0, and also the box sizing to border box. And in this resetting a selector, I'm going to reset everything for the before and after. We said these are the so-called pseudo selectors, so remember I'm also resetting for them too, so that they won't have any padding and margins. Though it's not a good idea to reset padding, so I'm just going to comment out padding and only reset the margin. Go to my file here, you'll be able to see that the margin has been set well, and not for the padding, of course. Now I'm going to move that one to a side like that. Then we are going to start styling top down, just starting from the navigation bar. So we have the navbar holder. I'm going to select my class, go to my CSS dot navbar holder. I'm going to start by display flex. I save, you will be able to notice not much difference. I'm going to set another item here. Actually, display flex won't be effective here because we do have a child in the navbar holder. So let's get to the child first. So I'm just going to set here a single property, that's the height, 60 pixels. And it's good to set the height or such a value in a variable. So I'm going to my root here. Let's do navbar height, and I paste there, colon, and I come to my selector here, do var dash dash. It's called navbar height there. Now you'll be able to see an overflow or an overlap of everything because the height of the navbar is now reduced to 60 pixels. Then I'm going to select the navbar class that is immediately under navbar holder .navbar, and I'm going to set the properties here. I'm going to set a height of 100%, no much difference. But the moment I set the display to flex, you'll be able to notice a difference. Now things are flowing like left, right. And after that, I'm going to go to my logo here and style my logo. Dot logo. I'm going to set the height or a max height of 100%. And in my padding, let me do something else. In my navbar, let me add some padding here, just like about 10 pixels top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right. And for my logo here, I'm going to set a fixed height that is 40 pixels, like that. You might not notice a difference because these ones are still flowing kwenda chini, so we need to change that one for them to appear wood. I'm going to select my image in the logo and give it some styling. Dot logo img. I'm going to set a height of 100% and an object fit to contain. Let me add the logo for you to see the differences between or why I used the object fit. I'm going to get a logo from this lifesoftwaredeveloper.com. I copy my logo here, copy image address, come to my image here and pass in the source there, like that. So if I come to my site, you'll be able to notice a logo that is styled there. So sometimes this one might work if you have it and your image is a very big image and you set an image to have a fixed height, you might need to set object fit for the image to maintain its pixelation. Otherwise, it might fail if you have a different sort of logo or an image which is large. So object fit is to just make the image fit a given dimensions. After that, we have this, the nav class. I'm going to copy the nav class. Nav. In the nav, we have a few things. That's the menu exactly. So it will be able to style the nav itself on its own. So I can do .nav then .menu, I think. Yeah, .menu instead of just styling the nav. But it's good to just style the nav. Let me give it some few properties. I'm just going to give it a property of 100% height. And I'm going to go to the dot menu and the styling it too. That's the height it should be have 100%. A display, I'm going to set it to flex. If I set to flex, now you realize that everything is flowing left, right. And after that, I'm going to say list style type to none, like that. Now you don't have those numbers. I'm going to go to these menu items, these LIs, copy the link, copy the class, do a selection, dot menu item, and I say height to 100%. Let me set some background here so that you can be able to notice when things are going wrong somewhere. So that's the given height that we have. Dot menu height 100%. I'm going to set a display of flex. Actually, there is no need because I want to also set the inner elements or the A tags or the menu links to have a height of 100%. That menu link. Then, all right. Get rid of that from there. I'm going to do a dot menu link candle, then set the display to flex, line items to the center. and justify content to the center. So the menus will be aligned at the center, or the links will be aligned at the center. And after doing that, I'm going to go to my nav here, or my menu here, and setting the padding to 0. Some sort of having some padding. Yeah, no, we don't have that padding that we had before that was pushing everything forward. It's not there. For the menu items, I'm going to for the menu, since I'm using menu items and display flex, I can just set the gap here to make sure they're given enough spacing between each other, something like 20 pixels. For the menu link, I'm going to say text decoration, none. I'm going to remove all the decoration. And let's see what we have. Let me open in full screen. So far, that's what we have. The nav here, everything is like cluttered all together to the left. Now I want to separate everything. I can go to my .navbar. Let me see what we have. Yeah, .navbar has all those as the children. And I could say just the content here, no space between, so that everything will be moved on its own space. This one has moved to the end. This one is at the center, right? And yeah, there. After that, I go to this. I remove the background. We don't really need it. We had some backgrounds that we had borrowed, or some CSS variables that we had taken from real-time colors. Let's apply them. Uh, let's start applying them. So I'm going to copy the background, or I'm going to use the background in my body. Background, I'm going to set a variable to that background. Now you see the body has changed the background overall. Then I'm going to set the links colors to something else. I go to the links here, menu link. I set the color to black. And I'm going to set the dot menu link. I want to set a different color on hover. So the color shall be var dash dash. We had accent and primary color, so I'm going to the accent like that. So if I hover on the menu, you see a different color below. And also this will happen to dot menu link uh, dot active when we have an active menu. For example, let me set one of them to be active. This one here, services. I say active there. That's what it will look like. Services now will be active by default. Let's style the last part of it here, register and login. That is action buttons. Copy this, go to our index CSS and do dot action buttons. I set a height of 100%, a display of flex. Let's leave it at that point. And then after that, we have the dot action button. Action button. I'm going to set a display of flex. Just align items center like that. The height of 100%. That's what we have. I need to set this one to be good. Display flex, and I add some gap of npx. I think npx has separated them a bit. Let's do 20 like the rest. Right. And after that, I'm going to continue styling this one by removing any text decoration. That's that underline that you see there. And we had some few colors, also some colors here. We had the primary button and the secondary button. So if we go to real-time colors, how they use the primary button and the secondary. So this is like the primary thing, yes. And for the secondary, is it? I think this one with some sort of greenish background. Yeah, so let's just use these colors to style our two buttons on top here. save that file. It will remove any underlines there. And come here and say color black. I don't know, I might get rid of this color later on, but let's do dot action button. I need to select the first child. So since we had the action buttons as the parent, I could do that, and I could do end child 1. That's, is it 1 or 0? Let's see. Green. I think the problem is so the way I'm doing this, it's because I'm using a recorder. Continue inatumia the same method kama so at this I'm selecting the first child like that. If I do that, save the file, like I'm selecting the first child or an element that is the first one that has this action button link. That is this one here, the register one, ndo pekee ndo ya kwanza iko na class ya action button. Then I set the background to the text color we had and the color to white. You might notice I did something here. I was testing out why is this not working, like it was not working. So I'll do this one for login. Now it's working for login, but this one ilikuwa imekwama pia, it wasn't working. So let me see if this one action button, the end child, I'm selecting the end child too, that's the second child, and changing the color here to the accent, or we had the secondary button. Sounds weird. Let me do the accent color, dash accent. That's what it will look like. Then I go to my action button here, do some padding a bit on top, and then the bottom there's not much I'm going to do, 0, but left and right I'm going to set 20 pixels. I'm going to spit them out like that. Now if you look at the code at full screen, that's what you will see, register and login, somewhat looking better than what we had the first time we were doing the sign up form. And also you might notice, John, you did this assignment mahali about buttons. Zangu sijasumbuka kuweka a lot of stuff, but yeah, you need to do some coloring there for them to work out well. The next thing I'm going to look into is the footer. So let me see our code. We have main class here. Let me set some classes on the main. Before I go down, let me do here Navbar CSS. Okay. Styling. Then I go down to the main styling. And you might notice a difference between VS Code and Sublime Text. VS Code is somewhat looking better. I need to do here in the main, I only have the main or the main class. I'm going to set a height, fix the height of 100 vertical or 100 view height. That's what we have, this height yenye imeflow kwenda chini hivyo. Then after that I'm going to go to the footer and give it some styling. Go to the footer, we have the footer here. Come and say footer styling dot footer. I'm going to set a width of 100 view width. Yes, 100 view width. And the best way of doing it is it doing the min or the max? I want to set it at a fixed width. So let me do the max or the min. Let's do min of 100 view width. Actually, let me do 90. Be good. 100 view width or 1200 pixels. The mean of the two. That's what I want to set our width to. Then the margin, I'm going to say auto. It will fix it at slightly at the center. If I go full screen, you'll notice it's not at I flow to the end kabisa. Imefika mahali. Then I do that. Then I go to the classes. We have the row, and in the row we have call force. I do dot row. Say I'm using display flex only because yes, it has a lot. I'm going to say give it a complete flex of 1. Then the dot call for that is in the row, I'm going to give it a flex. It's like setting the width, but not really a fixed width. I say a flex of 1 2. So if I say you notice like they have taken an equal size, an equal slice for each. That is, you can say 40% each. Is it 40 or 25% each of the given width? Then I go to my footer here. Let me add some padding. Padding, I need to do padding top of about 50 pixels and padding bottom of 50 pixels and left and right 0. That's what we have, a padding top and a padding bottom. And I need to set something to my footer here, like some sort of background. So if I go to this real-time colors, we had this color. I can choose to use a background that is fixed. For example, this green color. So let me go to my code. I see if I'm going to use the green color. I can come to my footer here. Let me see what I have. Footer, then the row. Um, since I want the footer to hold everything with that background color, let me set the row to hold the width so that it can be better. So move this one from here, set it at the row itself. Then come here and set the background color to be far, the text color we had. We had the secondary button. Still, yeah, that one looks great to use. So I'm going to use that as my background color. Each column has taken a given width. Then I'm going to set a padding to each of these columns of 10 pixels, like that. But it has led to an overflow. So I need to cap that. The best way of capping the search, you add some columns and you notice like there's an overflow. Go to your code and look at your code. You might notice I have another class in it called content. So instead of just setting padding on the call for where it set the flex or the flex size or the size, it's better to set the padding in a child. That way you won't have the overflow issues. So dot content, set my padding here. Still it has the overflow problem, but it's because of this uh, input there and because we are at a smaller screen. So I'll just increase it. You might notice there's not much difference if I go like full screen like that. But something to note is that it has reduced like the size it's giving to the output. I don't know why. Nope, that's not good. Oh, here, I need to set the margin here. Margin auto to make sure it has centered its own, or it's centered at the self, at the center on its own. So we have these headings here. I need to style them. So for the headings, they're called content title dot content title. And for this, I'm going to set the font weight 400. So you might notice it has reduced it like its size on its own a bit. And for each content, I'm going to set a few or more classes. That's flex, display, or flex, and the flex direction to column. And after the flex direction column, I'm going to add a gap of 10 px. So flex direction column not working in the content. Why? Oh, it's called flex direction like that column. Now you could be able to notice some sort of slight space that's 10 pixels below each heading. And if I go to, I need to style the content or the text. For that, the class is called content text. I could do dot. content, text, a font size, need to specifically fix at 14 pixels, like that. Then increase the line height to 1. Let me, one line is 16 pixels. I do that 2px. Let's see what we have. The 2px is too large, so let's just do 16 px. Too small, 20 px. Note a difference. 26, making some change here. 26 pixels is good. Then I reduce the font weight, I believe. Font weight, I do 300. How does that one look here? Font weight 300 has made it too light, but it's still good. Let me reduce the font size here, something like 16px, and also do change the color to var, the text color that we had set on top there. That's what we have now. All those, so let me increase this a bit, 22, yeah, 22 pixels. Then the next thing I'm going to style are these links that we have here. So for those links, they are called, let me just do this, they are called content links. Then content, then I do dot content links. In the content links, I'm going to set the padding to 0. Setting padding to 0, I'm going to set this style type none. After removing all the list cell type, that's what we have. Then I need to style the links themselves. We have the content link and we have an a in it, so I can just say content dash link. And in the content link we have a, that's chain selection, and then b, I'm going to say text decoration here to none. Moving text decoration, I need also to set the some height, maybe 40px, like that. Might not look great. Let's remove the color, set the color to color black. That's for our colors. The next thing I'm gonna set is the on hover. So dot content link on hover, I want it to have a color like this one, the text color now. That's where you use your variables. When I'm hovering, you might not notice the difference, so let me use the accent color that was used for all the links. There we go. Refresh the page. Not picking. Why? Accent, yes. Let me hard refresh the page, maybe. Refresh again. It's not picking. Dot content link. Oh, I need to set it at the right place. A hover there. You can notice that the font size is still too large, so that's what I can set here. Font size to 14 pixels. It has reduced the font size a bit. Now that's what we have for the links. Then after that we have these ones here. I might need to change this one to use links too, so let me just do that. Icon text, icon content link. Let me just do there. So to replace all this, I could do Control F to only find. I do Control H, find and replace. So I want to find icon text. I replace it with the content link, and I want to replace everything at once. So I'll click here, replace all, like that. So for this content link, I'm going to set a tag round, copy there, paste at the bottom here. I'm going to just paste them and open them. Okay. Copy that one, paste here. So this is where VS Code is good. If I do right click and format the document, or Control Shift I, it's going to format everything to look nice. So I save and I come here, they are still looking great and good. That's for my ATAGs. I except for two which are not working. This one I need to pass in href here, hash, and another href here, and say hash. That's so they're all working as links. Then we have this. I will get back to these icons that we had set here. These classes, FA mail, FA phone, these sort of classes. I'll get back to them later, but let's do our form here and style it too. So for our form, let me find its classes. It's called subscribe form. So I do dot subscribe form, subscribe form. And for this, I wanted to have, we have those. So let's select the input first, input, and set its display and the rest. So I'm going to set it from display being inline block to block so that it can take 100% of the given width. And then now give it some styling. For example, I'm going to set some padding on it, 10 px. It's too large, but that's what we expect, a larger padding. I'm going to set the font size of 14 pixels. If I type that's the font size, and I'm going to set the font weight to have something like 400 instead of what it has. So this 400, not really heavy, I'm going to make it heavier, so 500 will be heavier. Still not responding. I'm not full. Why? I don't know whether it needs a refresh. Nope, still not working. Let me finish styling it. I'm going to set the border to none. Actually, 2 pixel solid transparent. And for the outline, I'm going to set it to, nope, let me do this for the outline. And for the border, I'm going to set it to none. I want to fix this on focus. Input, when one focuses on it, VS Code shows you what you are going to write. And if I did 2 colons here, I'm going to get the focus one. So it's only a single colon. Otherwise, there are those which used to like after, before, and backdrop, but others like focus and hover, I think focus and hover only use a single column, not double columns. So on focus, I want to change the outline to, okay, outline color, yes, to the accent one, that one. On focus, change the outline color to the accent one, like that. I'm not going to set any border radius since it's because I didn't set any border radius on my buttons here. It's good if you are not setting border radiuses, don't use them all over where you are recording. Just use them once. Then I'm going to style my button. So subscribe form, and we have this btn subscribe. Copy this, do .btn subscribe, and I do some styling here. So my button is going to have a display of block. Let's see what we have. Not much. I'm going to set a margin top margin top of 10 pixels. It has moved down a bit, and I'm going to set a background color of var, the text color. One might ask, why am I using background color as text color? Yes, just naming. This is poor naming convention. So but sometimes if you wanted to use that color, you might use a naming convention that is not like this one text, but using like colors like primary color, secondary color, tertiary color, or some sort of BG color, and more. That's what I have so far. Then I need to remove the border and then outlines. Border none, outline to none. Also, I'm going to set the color to white. Here we have a nice looking button. Thereafter, I'm going to set some padding of 10 pixels, top and bottom, with a 16 px left and right. Yeah, it's looking good. Then one more thing to add on is the cursor, to make the cursor to a pointer. There I have my cursor now, a pointer. If I click, it submits the form. So I said we were to look upon a few things since this is like an offer. Let me first separate these ones more so that they can look like well separated. To separate them, I'm just going to find them where they are. They are called under content links, content link. So content link, content links. We have content link A. So I could just do copy the content link and do a margin bottom npx. They'll be spaced well. Then the next thing I said was to add these icons that we usually see here, fmail, phone. So these classes, for this we are going to use a library called Font Awesome. How to use Font Awesome? We are going to walk right into CDN.js. I'm going to search using some shortcut of searching. You do that Font Awesome, then you could add the specific website you want. For this case, I want a website called CDN.js. We'll open Font Awesome and you'll be able to see this is CDN.js. Click on Font Awesome. It will bring all these links here you need to copy. So I will show you the exact links you're going to copy. We are not going to use version 6. Version 6 is kind of hard to use. It needs a lot of things to configure. Okay, but it's the recent one. Copy that. I'm going to select the min file or the minified file of CSS. Copy that, all.min.css. I'm going to my file here on top, just below my title, above my index style sheet. So let me write some comments here. This is Google Fonts and control slash. This is called font awesome. We are using this is an icon library, and this I will be using it through. So I'm going to delete most of the stuff. We only remain with the link, the rail. Then I'm also going to include a JS file of this font awesome. So if I save the file and come here and see what we have, yeah, they have actually loaded. Some have loaded, but sometimes if you add font awesome and these icons don't add up or they don't show up, just come here and go right into your font awesome, find a JS file, usually all.min.js, copy this, come here to your file, just on the bottom above your body, the closing body tag, paste it there. I didn't copy. Okay, let me do font awesome JS. Right. I need to delete this referral policy cross origin because I heard somebody say they make these things to be heavier when loading. Just delete them. Go back to my code. Yeah, you might notice mail as like is somehow showing it's loading, but it's not there. I need to add it. So I go to my mail here, but I don't know the exact font or the exact class to use here. Where do I get them? So just go to Font Awesome website, Font Awesome, search, it will open Font Awesome, go to Font Awesome. Let's give it a moment. Then once you are in their site, go to icons. It will open a number, it will open this page. And what you are going to do is just search mail or the icon that you feel like, oh, I should use phone here, I should use something here. I hit enter. It's loading. Let's give it a moment, and it has searched. Then we have this mailbox, mail, all this stuff. We want envelopes. So we have envelopes bulk, we have envelope, just envelope. If I click on that, it will open this like this pop-up, and I'll be able to see how I'm going to use it. It's saying use it as FA regular. So if I click here, it's going to copy this code snippet. I go to my code where I want to use it. I paste it there. Let's see whether it has loaded. Now it has loaded with that. That's how you use. Let's add some other icon on this. Contact us. I go to that Font Awesome website, close the pop-up. I want an icon that is a Jeffron, like that angle bracket that goes to the right. So I search here Jeffron, right? It's going to open this and bring all Jeffron rights. I'm going to select the one that I want to use. Basically, I want to use this one. It will open this. It's called FA Solid, FA Chevron, right? Copy that. Go to my code, to my contact us app here. I hit enter, enter. I want to add it there. And this one, I'm going to convert it into a span, paste it there, save. If I go to my site now, I have a chevron right for my contact us page. You wanna do, if you want to add icons for all these others, you could do that. But let's style them and let these icons like stand out a bit. So all these icons are under content link A, I, or under span. So I go to content links A. I wanna style it this one better, so display to flex, align items to the center. After doing that, I'm going to add that space, a gap of 20 px. That's how they look like, but the gap has gone down too. Really don't want that much. Let me see what I have. Still large, not looking good. This, so I'm just going to get rid of that generally, so that I can have those. I style them separately. I do dots, content link, A, I say margin of the right at 10 px. Let me see why it's not picking up. Content link AI, content link AI, margin right 10 px, not catching up. I increase the font size to 16 pixels, still not working. I do a different thing, a color of white, not working. I inspect to see why it's not working. We have this, actually they were totally replaced, so I can't find my I tags because they have been replaced by SVG. That's the work of Font Awesome uh, JS. So it has replaced all my I tags with SVG. Let me try to comment out and see whether. So I'm going to comment out the script tag. So if I comment out the script tag, you might notice them working out the way I expected. But if you use the script tag, then you need to just know that it will replace all your I tags, these tags, with the SVG tags. Okay, I didn't want the SVG thing, so let me just leave it commented out like that. I don't want the color to white, just want something of sort. So they have been styled better off. One more thing to do is like to make our navigation bar to be static on the top. How we can achieve that? Our navigation bar is here called navbar holder. I could now style the navbar holder itself to be static. So where is it? Navbar holder here. I'm going to set its position to sticky, and I'm going to set its top to 0. I want it to be sticky on the top. Even if I were to scroll, it will be still sticky on the top. Sometimes when you have these links stick to the top, then you might need to go ahead and add a few styling with JavaScript. When somebody scrolls down a bit, it changes the background color to white or something. So that's something for another day, I believe. Then one more thing to finish on the footer is there's something that we usually see in websites. For example, this one, this copyright 2023 designed by that. Let's add that one. It's just a text, so I go to the footer here, outside the row one, and I do another dot. They are usually called copyright. So dot copyright, enter. I'm going to do a p tag and just pasting that. Go to my styling, just huko mwisho kabisa. I do the copyright styling, copyright styling, and in the copyright styling, what I'm going to do, just select the copyright, and doing some padding, 10 pixels, top and the bottom of 20 pixels, left and right of about 50 px. Then I'm going to set the background color. I'm totally going to set that text color that I said earlier. Text color, that one. Then I'm going to also center everything. So text align, center. And one more thing to say here is the font size, set it to 14 px. And that's it for that. That's what it's going to look like. But you notice it's not at the bottom because our our footer has the padding top and bottom of 50 pixels, so I need to reset a few things. So instead of having the footer having that padding top and bottom of 50 pixels, I'm going to set it at the top. Yes. Okay. So we have 50 pixels, 0, 0, 0. This is just to make sure I'm setting the padding on the top only, not on top and bottom. Then I go to my row, set the rest of the padding there. So my row here, I'm going to set a padding of bottom actually. There's no need of setting the rest of 50 px. So it will give some spacing on bottom here. Then I need to change the text color here to look something that one can read through. Go to the bottom and change the text color. Not text color, but just color to white. That one somebody can read through. Right, that's all for today. Uh, that's how to style your navigation bar and your footer. Then later on, we shall take this to another level, like complete the rest of the stuff. This is where real-time colors was helpful for me. For example, setting the colors I'm going to use. I'm only using this sort of pink, green, light. Just exported them from here. At least they look like what they have on their site. Not there's a difference, but something like what they have on their site. Yeah. Any questions? Which one is that? Setting up VS Code. Okay. So let me take you through setting up VS Code. There is something that we did install before we started. That is something, this one that is helping us do live reload of our page. You notice I have reloaded the page and it's totally offline. It's because we installed an extension called 5 server. So if you go to extensions, just it's usually the last icon on this list if you don't have a lot of plugins installed. So if you go down and you hover through the icons, you'll be able to see extensions here. Click on that and search for five server, or you could even use another extension called live server. Though I don't know why I never used this. Just to take this one with the 5 in it. This one is the so-called 5 server. If you click on it, this one is just live server. This one is 5 server. Actually, you could use any of them. I believe they're both of them are from the same dev. Yannick, no, they're from different developers. They are using the same icon. Not much difference. Yeah, you could install any of this. After doing that, and uh, just select your HTML file, or even if you are in index file, in your index file, and you click go live, this extension is going to go through your folder, find index.html file, and save it. No, it has decided to serve the exact thing it selected, so just serve index.html. Click here to exit, click on index.html, click on go live. It will open this, and it will open your website in a live mode. So the moment you just make a change here, for example, in the main content, I say main content goes here, I save the file, I go to my browser, I don't have to reload, but it will have just filled my main content there like that. So that's the good thing with VS Code and its extensions. They are very helpful. There are other extensions, for example, these ones we see here, source control. Uh, yeah, source control. This is for GitHub. The thing I told you to install, that software I told you to install the other time back, where we'll be using like sharing code easily than sending files over and over. So yeah, we shall learn GitHub too, how to use GitHub and how to use GitHub to share files and code or to collaborate. Right. Another questions? Okay. I don't know, John. Let me see here. Yes, John. Yes. Yes. Right. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I did put classes on each of these elements. If you notice that starting top down, I really don't have much of code, but I did start doing classes the moment I opened my first div. To the next one, navbar. The next one is a nav. The next one is a menu, and each here is a menu item. Also, the A tags I gave them menu link. Reason as to why I usually do classes on almost all the elements. For example, I want to use this menu link. So let's style main and add a few contents to main. So I go to main. Let me style. We had main here. Main, yeah. Main head that. Head that. So I'm going to set a width here. I'm going to set the mean of 90 view width or 1200 pixels. I go to my menu here. I was set. Let's say I was writing a p tag here, and I say main content goes here, and I wanted to add a link here. A, and I say a class. No class. I just say a link here. So if I save that, you might notice this a link here thing here. But what if I wanted to use the same styling that is given here? So I could just come here and do a class of a menu link like that. but this one is like off because the menu link has like more styles set to it. Where's the menu link? Mm, yeah, this has a lot of things set to it. That's why it's looking the way it's looking. But if you had some classes you wanted to reuse, you use a class here, use a class somewhere else, it's better to just set classes as you go on, provided you don't forget why do you use it. Yes, okay. And for your other question, you had a question about placeholders. So I did a form here and I did an input here. Okay. Yes. Yes. Did you? Right. Yes. I did open a folder. So if I close my VS Code, yes. So let me show you how I did it. I go to projects. I go to my projects were not here really, but here. Uh, I did it here, so I go to my class. That is the 10, I think. Yeah. So I did my code folder here. But let's say you had a new folder. Just create a new folder here. And the good thing with this, you don't have to open VS Sublime Text to open it. So just right click on the folder, click open with. Where is open with? Open with. I believe with Windows is open with. Yeah, open with. Then after you have selected open with, select Visual Studio Code. Then that's it goes. In your case, you might say open with, then open with Visual Studio Code. That is it, and it will open Visual Studio Code. The moment you are in Visual Studio Code, then the good thing with this again, you just click here for creating a new file, or here to create a new folder. So I click here to create a new file, and I say index.html. To start my HTML or my boilerplate code, how to quickly get it, hold on shift, hit exclamation mark. You'll be able to see this emmet coming on the right. There we go. Enter. It will open that. Then I do my content. Then if I've or as I am going on with my content, click on go live. It will open live server. We give it a moment. No, I didn't right click anywhere. Just click on the button live server. It will open like that. The good thing with this, you don't have, the moment it has opened, just close your terminal there. Then you could continue coding. Save. You don't have to come and refresh your page. It will just refresh your page automatically. Yeah. That's why VS Code is a go-to option when coding because it has a lot of these plugins. Though other IDEs do have the same, but VS Code is lighter and somehow the learning curve on how to use it is quite simple, not that tough. Okay, another question? Yes. Okay. So GitHub, if I may illustrate what's happening, so let me just illustrate more about GitHub. Maybe it could shed some light. So let's say I have this code I'm going live here. This is far-fetched, but that's the story. So let me close these things that I'm not using. So let's say you have this code and you want to share it with me, or I want to share it with you. You don't have to go to your Gmail or do anything. So you just go to GitHub. So I believe, Jeremy, your question here will be answered too, how to use it. Uh, Once I'm at GitHub, I need to go to my account. So this what you might notice, your landing page might look something of this or not. If you are on the landing page that's on github.com and you are logged in, just for illustration purposes, I'm just going to proceed. Yeah, click on new. After you've clicked on new, don't fill anything. It's asking you to create a new repository template here. So you don't have to choose anything here. And for your owner here, you'll only be having a single account if you don't have organizations. Just select your account. Then the repository name will be Navbar. Just pass in a Navbar footer or the name, a repository that you don't have in your account, just like a new folder that you don't have in your account. Then you don't have to touch anything, just leave it public if it's a public thing. But if you want it to be private, only shared between a few people that you know, that's when you use it. You could add some description here saying this repo is for navigation and a footer design with with HTML and CSS. So you do, it's optional, you don't have to fill it. Then you don't click on add me. Just after you have filled your, actually after you have entered your repository name, click create new repository. So it will create a repository. It will take you to this page and it will give you a few of the commands to follow. So for my case, I'm going to follow all these commits or all these commands. So I'm just going to copy this and go to my code here, open the terminal. I'm adding another bash terminal, just using the plus here. I don't know whether it will work. Right. So it's saying initial commit, untracked files, nothing added to commit, but untracked. Okay. So git status, git add dot, git add dot, git commit -m first commit. This is like the commit message or why you are committing this. Then git, I'm checking my remote. I do have a remote, then I can just git push. So it will tell me to set an upstream or where I'm pushing my code to. I'll copy that, paste. So it has loaded. Or let me redo it again. So after I've just pushed my code, if I come here and refresh the page, that's what we have. Now my code is online. What can happen to this code is that somebody else who wants my code can come here, click on that button, code, and download the zip file. I'm just downloading the zip file. This is my zip file here. I go to my downloads or where my zip file was downloaded to. I'm going to open it here, extract it here actually. Once it is extracted, if I go to index.html, this is what I'll get. It's the same page. It's like the same content. I didn't have to send this code to you via zip. I didn't have to send this code to you via email. I just shared a link. You went ahead and downloaded this. So that's the fastest way of developers contributing to the same source code. Also now, yes. So what happens? Yes, yes, yes. Now this is the Facebook for devs. Now you share ideas. You could just do a complete project using GitHub. Like you share code easily. You push, I pull. Like What I did was pushing my code here. When I come here, or when somebody else comes here to use the same code, they can come download the zip, or there's even a better way of pulling the code. So let me redo the process, but in a much slower speed. That way we can be together. So I will just go back to my default. All this is my landing page. That's the Almasonto here. So at this particular point, let's say I don't have like this. I have not created a repository, but I want to share my code with somebody. What I do is I come to my repositories here, click on repositories, and I can start or create a new repository. Click create new repository. There are things to learn about GitHub as we go on. For example, setting your machine to be able to do what I'm doing. I have not shown you that one. So you have to set your machine to be able to handle this kind of connections. So I can say this is a new repo. That's the name. I'm not going to do anything else. Just click create new repository. After creating a new repository, you will notice it will give you some few commands here: git init, git add, remove, add, readme, and all those. So how can I like maybe do it better? So, and in fact, let me just delete this. I create one for the sign up form. It will be better that way. Delete this repository. I want to delete. I have. So it's saying I do dalmasonto slash new repo. Delete it. So confirm my password. Enter. Confirm. Yeah, I'm going to do a new repository. New. Then I'm going to call this one sign up form. Yeah, just sign up form. Then go to create repository. It will create a repository of sign up form. It will give me these commands here. So let me go to my repository or to my code. I come here to my code. Where's my code? Local disk E, there, mentor. Then I go to classes. Where was that sign up form? Was it this class? Yes, this was the class that had the sign up form. So since I don't want to push everything here, for example, this video don't want it to go online, I'm going to specifically, let me just confirm this, if this is the right folder. Yes, this is the right folder. I'll go there. So I only want a few things here. Let me just copy that, copy that, copy that, copy that, copy that. Let's say these are the files that I wanted to share. Copy them. I'm moving them into a new folder so that I can be able to push them without pushing the video online. Bad idea. Let's go with a better idea. So you have your folder like this. It has some things that you don't want to push online. For example, I don't want to push this video. So I just rename this one to video like that. So what I do in this folder, just right click and open in terminal. I open the folder in the terminal. So there are a few things. If you don't want to push such a file online or to GitHub, there's a few things you can do. So I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to call it .gitignore. And I'm going to open this file in the terminal, nano.gitignore. But if you're not using a Linux, for example, if you are in Windows, you don't do nano or you don't do what I did. For Windows, it's kind of easier. Just right click on your folder, create a new file, and name that file as just a plain text, and name it .gitignore. And open that file. That is it. After opening the file, I don't want to push this video.webm, so I'm going to ignore it using the .gitignore file. So it's called video.webm. I save the file, I exit there, but I exit like that. If I now right click and if I show all the folders and files here, you can be able to see this hidden file here. It's actually hidden on Windows. For Windows to view it, you need to go to their files, view, and view the hidden ones. After you have added the .git file. Now I want to commit my changes to online. So let me go to GitHub and copy these commands. The first one is git init. So I'm going to initialize git on my folder or in my project. To be specific, I've initialized the git in my project. Now the next command is git add readme. I'm not going to do this one because sometimes it's really problematic. I'm just going to do this one here. Git commit -m, the first commit. But usually you're going to do this if you have not added. So the next command you want to do is git add everything. And you could just do git status to see the files that you are about to commit. Those are the files you're about to commit. Then I'm going to commit them. Git commit -m first commit. Enter. I have committed the files. Now what I need to do is to push them, but there's another command GitHub has given us here. That is changing the main branch to be main, or your branch to be main. That's just a name, main branch. I go there, paste the command, enter. It has set my branch to main. If I set, say, git branch like that, you might notice only have a single branch, that's main. Then the next thing I want to do is adding the remote, like now connecting my git folder from my local machine, or my git project from my project from my local machine to GitHub. So I do that. That's the connection. That's the connection of doing it. Then after I've done the connection, I'm going to push. Copy the last command and push. Now let's see what will happen here. Right, now it has pushed to GitHub. If I come to GitHub and refresh, there we go. Yeah, now my files are online. How can I share this file? Just come here, or I will just go to my link on top Hapaju, select everything, copy, go to let's mentor and do a sign up form here. Sign up form, yeah, share. So what you do next is you come here to your code. After you have found the link, just go into the link and it will open it. It will just give you this. Then click here code, then download the zip, extract and continue using the code as you could have used it. Otherwise, yeah. So let me share the other links too for this other Navbar, and so I'm just going to search through my repositories. Yeah, any questions so far? So this another one, that is the Navbar and footer code. So I've just shared that one. What if I want to update this code of the navbar and the footer? Nothing much, just go to your code, do what you want to do. For example, here in the index.html, find what you want to update. Main content goes here and here and here. That's where the main content goes. So I have updated the files. I just need to do git status to check the files that I've updated. I have modified the index.html. Then what I do next is git add dots to just make sure I've added the file to my ready for commit. So if I check git status now, this one has been modified now, but it may change color kwenda green. Then next I wanna do is git commit -m, and I write the message I want to. So this is -m means the message modified main element. The next I want to do is git push. Now it will update the code online. So let's see how it will push. A moment, it has pushed. Now if I come to my code here, this is the sign up form. Yeah, no, not sign up form, but rather the navbar, and I need the navbar one. Let me just go here and open it. So navbar, the footer. If I open the file or the repository, I go to my index.html file. You might notice this here. It will say main content goes here and here and here. This is what I have in my local. You don't have to now you don't have to build a new repository. It will just update the existing code in the repository. So if I go back a bit, you could be able to see different messages. For example, this one says modified main element. This is what we have done just a minute ago, and this is what we did 13 minutes ago, that first commit. So GitHub is just to help us share code easily as developers and have a working environment. If you update something in your code, I don't have to come and ask you what did you update. No, I just go pull the code. For example, in this code, I'll just do here, somebody updated something, I'll just do git pull, and it will update my local repository or my local code with whatsoever is current up to date, whatever is online. So for it's saying already up to date, that's what it is, because the code has no difference. Yeah, another question? Right, if there are no other questions, yes? Okay, another addition. So, yes, so tomorrow I will take you on how to set up Git with your local machine in order for you to be able like push code to GitHub, pull code from GitHub, yeah, so that we can increase our productivity, easily share code, yeah, yes. Somebody had something to say? Okay, then if there's nothing more to say, then I think we shall end it here and we call it a day. We are already 1 hour 2 minutes